Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're an undergraduate student with your sights set on veterinary medicine, you already know the path ahead is, well, it's intense. The application process alone can feel like this massive, towering hurdle full of conflicting advice, crazy competition, and a whole lot of moving parts. But hey, don't sweat it, because that is exactly why we're here today. We're going to break down the most frequently asked questions for undergrads facing this daunting process, clearing up the noise so you can put your absolute best foot forward.
Before we lay out the complete roadmap, let's tackle one of the absolute biggest anxieties head-on. It's the question keeping freshmen and sophomores awake at night. Do you actually have to be an animal science major to get accepted into veterinary school? There's this huge misconception out there that if you aren't studying science, you're already behind. So let's see what the experts actually say.
To debunk that myth and several others, we'll be looking at 4 core pillars today. First, academics, majors and credits. Second, timing the GRE right. Third, essential animal experience. And finally, building a competitive application.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Academics, Majors and Credits.
Okay, the biggest myth out there is that you absolutely need a specific pre-vet or science major to even be taken seriously. But the reality? There is no required major for pre-vet students. In fact, at institutions like Texas A&M, there isn't even a general pre-vet major on the books. The official advice is actually to major in whatever subject interests you the most. A non-science major absolutely does not put you at a competitive disadvantage. You just have to work closely with your academic advisor to make sure you weave all those necessary veterinary prerequisite classes into your schedule alongside your regular major requirements.
So you might be wondering, if you can major in anything, why are certain majors so incredibly popular? You'll see a ton of pre-vet students clustering in animal science, biomedical science, and wildlife and fisheries. Why is that? Well, it's because the heavy load of science prerequisite courses required for vet school is already baked right into those specific degree plans. It's purely about efficiency. At the end of the day, veterinary schools are going to heavily scrutinize your GPA in those specific prerequisite and science courses. That science GPA, it's the great equalizer. It's the metric schools use to compare applicants side by side, totally regardless of whether you majored in biomedical science or, art history.
Now let's talk about community college versus AP or IB credits, because this is a massive source of confusion. Taking a class at a community college is totally fine. In fact, here's a massive strategic advantage for you. While that grade might not count toward your overall undergrad transcript GPA at your main university, it actually will be calculated into your GPA when you apply to vet school. You can absolutely use this to your advantage by securing A's at a community college to bump up your overall vet school GPA. On the flip side, though, you've got to be incredibly cautious with AP or IB credits. Sure, skipping intro bio with an AP credit sounds amazing right now, but vet schools strongly prefer you take science prerequisites at a 4-year college. And the real catch? Once you accept that AP credit at your university, you literally cannot unaccept it, no matter how much you beg the registrar. So please, talk to your advisors before accepting those credits so you don't accidentally weaken your science foundation in the eyes of the admissions committee.
Moving right along to Section 2, Timing the GRE right.
Okay, before you go out and buy a mountain of test prep books, remember this absolutely critical piece of advice. Verify your target school's requirements immediately. The landscape of standardized testing is shifting fast, and some veterinary schools don't even require the GRE anymore. So, the very first step you should take before you even think about a study schedule is to check the specific websites of the vet schools you're actually aiming for. But if your goal is to graduate from undergrad and go straight into veterinary school the very next fall, and you do need the GRE, your timeline is pretty tight. Here's your ideal schedule. You should take the GRE in the spring of your junior year. At the absolute latest, you want to take it during the summer before your senior year. This just makes sure your scores are processed and ready to go right as application season opens up for your senior year.
All right, let's jump into Section 3, Essential Animal Experience.
Listen, the biggest application factor, aside from your raw numbers, is your hands-on experience. And you absolutely must check all 3 of these specific boxes to be considered a competitive applicant. First, you need both animal experience and veterinary experience. They are not the same thing. Second, you have to have experience working with a large variety of animals. Just hanging out with household pets won't cut it. You need exposure to both large and small animals. And finally, your specific veterinary experience absolutely must be directly supervised by a doctor of veterinary medicine, or DVM. Walking dogs at a shelter, awesome animal experience. But to count as veterinary experience, a DVM literally needs to be in the room guiding you.
So how do you actually get this experience?
If you're at a large university with a ton of pre-vet students, the local area is going to be incredibly saturated. Following these exact steps is a real game changer. Step 1, look in your hometown. Doing this over breaks gets you out of that super crowded college town market. Step 2, take the initiative and directly approach local veterinarians. Step 3, think outside the private practice box. Ask local zoos or animal shelters who their attending veterinarian is. And finally, don't just stand in the corner taking notes. Actively work alongside them to build a real relationship. That is exactly how you secure those critical, diverse shadowing hours.
Let's bring it all together in Section 4, building a competitive application. While your GPA and those supervised clinic hours get your foot in the door, vet schools are ultimately looking for well-rounded, compassionate, and highly capable people. Your application needs to heavily feature your character. This means showcasing a solid work history, demonstrating leadership skills both on and off campus, highlighting your community service, and of course, listing your academic achievements and awards. They really just want to know you can handle the brutal academic rigor while still being an active, contributing member of your community.
Now here's a massive rumor we hear all the time, especially with top-tier state schools. It's all about undergraduate favoritism. Students are constantly asking, does the Texas A&M Veterinary School show preference to its own Texas A&M undergrads? Well, officially, the answer is no. During the application process, absolutely no preference is given based on where you earned your undergraduate degree.
But wait, check this out. 50% of the entering class at TAMU's vet school every single year are A&M undergraduate students. So if there's no official preference, how on earth does that happen? Well, it happens simply because the undergraduate education there, the strong academic reputation, and the cultural emphasis on selfless service provide such a remarkably strong competitive foundation. It isn't bias, it's just that those students are exceptionally well prepared by their environment.
A quick shout out, all of this foundational data comes directly from professional school advising at Texas A&M, which is just an invaluable resource for navigating this whole journey.
So, knowing the myths versus the realities, it is time to take action. You know that your major matters a whole lot less than your science GPA. You know how to leverage community college credits carefully. You know to check your GRE requirements and exactly how to source diverse shadowing hours outside of those crowded college gowns. You've got the roadmap directly from the experts, and you know exactly which pitfalls to avoid. But hey, a roadmap only works if you actually start driving, right? So which piece of your application are you going to upgrade first today? Are you going to rethink your major or start making calls to your hometown vets? The competition is already working on theirs, so it's time to get started. Good luck and keep pushing forward.